This podcast provides a platform that will share many different points of views that should empower you, uplift you, make you want to go out and do right. When you hear the term still a man, say, yes, I am. Still a man. Yes, I am. Still a man. Yes, I am. Let's go.
What's up, people? You are now tuned in to the Still a Man podcast. It is Tuesday night, so it's time for another episode. Tonight's topic, abusive relationships. So just so we're clear about it, we're talking about domestic violence. Now, this is if anybody within your home or someone that claims to love you is causing you harm, that's what we're talking about. So we're talking about men abusing women, women abusing men, and same-sex relationships, same-sex couples. So again, we're talking about that dreaded topic of domestic violence. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to Facebook and other social media, but there's been a lot of reports of domestic violence. I mean, there are women that, Facebook, let me just say this to start off. Facebook, you need to do a better job at policing the content. You're causing people mental trauma. There's people being murdered, stabbed, beaten on your platform. So I guess we gotta tighten up. And for those of you that like reposting stuff like that, we got to use be better about our discretion. I mean, I know it's your prerogative. You can do what you want to do with your pages, your platforms, but we don't need to keep circulating this type of trauma. It's enough for our communities that all the other things that's going on causing us trauma. We don't need to perpetuate this. So as a whole, we need to do better as society and as a community. So with that being said, let's talk about domestic violence. Now, first off, let me go on and tell you guys the number. If you know someone that's being abused, a victim of domestic violence, if it's you or anybody else you know, they have a hotline that you can call 24/7. It's the National Domestic Violence Hotline. It is 1-800-799-7233. So go ahead and chart that down. We'll post it at some point at the show. So when you see this next time, it'll be posted in the beginning and at the end of the show. So when you go on YouTube, you will see that information posted. So once again, for everybody in attendance and those that will be watching later on, it is the the National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-7233. 1-800-799-7233. Committed to your memory. And if you forget about it, just go online and type in domestic violence, and that's one of the first things that pop up, the 1-800 number. Okay. Now, so a lot of people are unaware what domestic violence is. Some people are going through it and they don't even know that they're a victim of domestic violence. In some cases, some people are the abusers and they don't see it as such. They don't feel like that they're abusing anyone. They feel like this is normal. So they don't have a problem. Everybody else has a problem, and the problem that everyone else has is getting in their business. So I'm gonna say this to all the men and women all around the world. This is gonna help you grow. If you're dealing with somebody, be it man or woman, and they're your trigger, and they're bringing the worst out of you, the best thing to do right now is detach yourself from those individuals. I know people have children with some of these individuals, and you find it hard to get away, but you need to do it as soon as possible. As soon as you're able to detach yourself from the situation, the better off everybody will be, because the end results, it's you don't have too many options. What happens is you either lose your freedom or your life. So either one, it's a bad ending. So again, if you know somebody that's suffering from this, if you know somebody that is enduring it, or basically embroiled in these type of issues, then again, you might want to give them that 1-800 number so that they can begin the helping process. Now, so there's all types of domestic violence. There's all type of abuse. You got the mental, where people basically play with your head, try to manipulate you and make you think that it's your fault, that they are behaving the way they do. If you would just listen to what they say or what they're instructing you to do, then they won't have to threaten you and they won't have to beat on you. Then you got the verbal abuse, where people are constantly just trying to overtalk you or speaking badly to you, calling you out your name, belittling you, and things of that nature. And then it leads to the emotional abuse, where again, people playing games with your heart, your emotions. You just become so emotionally out of control, you don't know what to do, because the individual that you're dealing with is out of control too. Then it all leads to the physical abuse. So it might start off with the mental, the verbal, and emotional, and then it leads to the physical, because eventually words are not enough, and these individuals are done playing games, and because they're not in control of their emotions, they want to play on yours. So eventually it becomes physical. Sad but true. A lot of times, women and men alike, due to self-defense, they end up again losing their freedom, because they end up having to go to jail, because a lot of times these things are not reported. We brush it under the rug, we sweep it under the rug, because it's a shame. And even more so for the men, if the men are being abused, it's a shame. Like it's laughable. People laugh at them. They don't believe that this is something that can happen to men, but it does happen. So again, you guys, this is something serious. So if you know somebody, be it man or woman, and if they come to you and they basically want to open up about this, just be a shoulder for them, be of great support. Listen, or again, point them in the direction of some much needed assistance. Again, that 1-800 line, it works wonders. That begins the helping process. So let's go around the board, and let's start with Patsy. Patsy, welcome back. What does domestic violence mean to you? Have you ever been subjected to it? Have you been a victim of it? Or are you somebody that has victimized someone else in the past, abused somebody? So the floor is yours.
For me, it's like just people being abusive towards each other, and whether it's like one person towards the other, or both of you doing the same thing to each other, and yeah, I've been in a situation where dude was like abusive towards me. I eventually, I kind of endured it myself, because it was kind of like a mixture of everything. Like physical, emotional, and playing with trying to play with my head, and it's like no. And of course, when dude got physical with me, it's like I threw fist back, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And one time, like he got mad at me because like I ended up scratching him while we were fighting because I was defending myself. And I'm like, well, you worried about me scratching you, like you better next time you think about it, putting your hands on me, you need to think about that scratching and don't put your hands on me. But he kept with the verbal and the mental stuff, you know, because he kept trying to tell me like I'm switching his clothes with some other man's clothes and then bringing them back. You know, it's like who does that? You know?
Yeah, sound like he had some
Classic.
mental health issues.
Nah, that's
Yeah,
classic. That's classic. What they call that reverse, because he's out cheating, so he's making up
exactly.
stories in his head, saying all this. He switches. That's all classic blame. Get the blame off of me because I know I've been doing wrong, so I'm gonna put it off on. That's where the mind games come from, and you start believing what
Exactly.
that person think that he's saying, and you know for sure that it ain't true, but he keep drilling it, and then you start to
Yeah,
believe it.
yeah,
Okay.
but I'm glad I finally got his behind out my house because it's like, nah, I don't have to put that up. You know, you living in my house, and I ain't living in yours. So I finally was able to get his behind out my house. Now um really don't have to deal with it. I'm still getting stuff from some mail and thing, especially from Social Security for him. You know, I'm like, because for a long time I'm like having to call him up and yelling at him like, why didn't you change your address with him and blah blah blah. Finally, I was like, you know what? Why am I yelling at him? That's more of a control thing.
Mm-hmm.
Still, even out my house, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you know, I'll just put it back in the mailbox with return to sender, and you know, so
So
yeah.
you're free of that situation. So again, you can, if you want to, you tell us how you got rid of this individual, how you was able to free yourself of this situation?
Well, I basically like was over here. I had some cans and bottles that I wanted to cash in, so I went over there to the liquor store, cashed them in. He calls me up talking about, oh, where am I at? He had been out the house all night. So when I left to go to the store, he wasn't anywhere around in the building or outside the building and whatever. And I was just finishing up and he called me and I said where I was at. And then he come around talking about, how'd you sneak past me? Like, how did I get past him? Like I'm sneaking around, like, okay, from my house to the over here by McDonald's, it's a straight shoot. It's like maybe 2.5 blocks. If they like, where can I hide? Like on Dart Ave, you know?
Mm.
Nowhere, and I'm not even trying to sneak nowhere. I'm a grown ass woman. Why am I gonna sneak to the store?
Right.
Don't make sense. So and he saw someone by the laundromat, and then another dude coming out his car, and he wanna like make like I'm arguing at him, and he's like,
Shit.
you know, arguing at me. I'm like, I'm not arguing at you. I'm telling you, I don't have to sneak out my own house, and you weren't nowhere to be found. So how
Mm.
am I sneaking? You
So
know,
That's
and
classic.
when I got back here, I said, yeah, you getting out my house definitely this time. He's like, yeah, I know I am. And all those men
You got
that you
somebody
with,
else.
they're gonna use you for your money. I'm like, yeah, okay, what men I got?
Mhm.
You know, it's like
So, so
I
you
started
That's
basically,
the
thinking,
guilt trip.
so you basically
yeah,
became strong enough to remove yourself from the situation or remove him from your
exactly.
house. Okay. So your testimony, hopefully it will strengthen someone else, help someone else out.
Yeah.
Timmy, you seem like you're ready to share. Same question. Have you ever been the victim of domestic violence, or have you ever been the abuser, or have you ever witnessed
Yeah,
this behavior?
yeah, I witnessed it, and the brother Charleston White said something that was intriguing to me, and it is true because it was that's how I was brought up. Now, what he said, now I got two parts, but what Charleston said was when he was a kid, and I remember that too. If you disrespected a female, period, or your mother, somebody was going to say something to you to put you back in line to let you know that's a woman and you're not supposed to talk to that woman like that.
Mm.
And now the second part was I saw something. My 16th birthday, we having a party, and it just happened. I had a bunch of people from the neighborhood that was up in the house and whatnot. It just happened to look out the window, seeing some chick being power drive, manhandled, and everybody from in the party went out there and beat this dude up. And I was like, that's what you need more today. You know,
Mm.
to let those abusers, because those abusers are scared to go up against a man, because those are not men. Those are little boys that's doing that stuff, and because they never was taught how to be a man, or they saw their father never being a man and manhandling their mother. So they that's what they was taught. But if more men was to stand up for women who were being, now I seen another one where a dude was hollering at a pregnant woman, and he was getting aggressive with her, and the dude came, pulled up, he saw her, he jumped out of his car with his gun and told the dude, yo man, that's a pregnant woman. I bet you won't talk that nonsense to me like that. And then he stayed with the lady to make sure that this dude wasn't gonna try to do nothing to her.
Mm.
Wow. Okay. Um. So again, you witnessed a lot of it, but you never been the victim of it.
Oh no, nah.
So is
I'm
it?
against that. I
That was my next question.
my motto is I treat people like the way I want to be treated. So
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want no dude beating on my mother or my sisters. So I wouldn't do it to nobody else's mother or sister.
Mhm. Okay. So that was my next question. Do you condone it? And you already answered it. You said no. All right, let's get another woman's perspective. Tanya, thank you for joining us. So have you ever been a victim of domestic violence, or have you ever subjected someone to said behavior, or have you witnessed it?
Yes, I have witnessed it, and I believe that I have caused it, or been abusive to someone else. My thing is, when you're talking about abusive relationships, it's more than just physical, it's mental, it's emotional. And mental and emotional can lead to physical. When like for myself, me witnessing a lot of mental, emotional, and physical abusiveness throughout my family, I made a decision that I wasn't going to allow that to enter my life. But you be more focused on the physical that you're not even thinking about the mental and the emotional. When you're looking for love, you know, if you grow up in a situation where you feel unloved and you feel like no one really cares about you or loves you, and you go out in the world looking for it in all the wrong places, you're kind of mentally and emotionally abusing yourself because you're accepting a lot of behavior in the quest of looking for that love.
So, you care to share any of those experiences? I know you said you caused it. Now, I want to be clear about this. So I want you to paint the picture. I don't want to paint the picture.
How I caused it?
Yeah, I want to know why you believe that you caused it. What did you do to contribute to this behavior?
Well, I'm going to say that I caused it with my children because I allowed, in my quest of looking for love, I allowed some behavior to go on around my children in the quest of trying to have that void that I was missing in my life. And then you don't realize it. You think because you're doing all the physical things of being a good parent, you know, you're being there for them, you're providing for them, you're trying to show them the love that you have for them. But when you are allowing negative entities in your circle, that's the influence on them as well. So that can cause mental and emotional abuse to them.
And it also causes them to be disrespectful towards you.
Yes, or hold
angry
some kind of
with you.
resentment. Yes, or hold some
Yes.
kind of resentment. Yes, that later shows its ugly head when they're older.
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right. Sean, same question.
I've witnessed, I would like to say, mental abuse to where there was certain, like some of the men in my family, they and I don't think they even realized that they were doing it. They just came from an era to where they felt like because they were the man, what they say went. And it was the way that they used to talk to the women and how they didn't treat them as like physically treat them bad, but like mentally, you know, constantly waiting on them and serving them and acting like they can't do anything for themselves. To me, I looked at that as a form of psychological and mental abuse because that was something that I was determined not to be like when I got older in my dealings with females, because I saw how the women, and I know it may come across to some as, no, that might have been love, this and that, but for me, it was kind of abusive because the women like just literally catered to the men to where they can be dead tired, go to work all day, you know, put in the same hours, if not as much as the man, and come home and was expected to still cook, clean, and all of that. And the man not even taking into consideration what she had to do and was still looking for all that services. And if it wasn't done, would have a whole lot to say about it. And so for me, that's what I grew up under, thinking that was more of a mental, even though I believe the women, you know, a lot of them signed they whatever their agreement was when they got married to the men in our family. But for me, that was a form of what I considered psychological and emotional abuse, because you can see somebody is physically tired and you're capable of doing whatever, and you walk into their presence and be like, hey, what's for dinner? Like, what? So I had a problem with that growing up. But as far as physical, yeah, I've seen that. Not that I've witnessed anyone within the family. I'm not saying that it didn't go on. I just never seen it. But that was the kind of abuse that I was around when I was coming up.
Okay.
Can I say something to that aspect of being in a marriage or a relationship with someone? Like, I've witnessed in my lifetime of a husband and wife, woman doing everything for the husband, cooking, cleaning, raising his children, being the best type of mother that she can be for him, for the kids, and being the best wife she could be for her husband. But yet the husband is still going out and doing what he wanted to do, as far as being with other women and cheating and thinking because he pays all the bills and he's going to work and he's paying for the house and all of this, that it's his right to go out and do whatever he wants to do, which causes emotion. I witnessed it causing emotional and mental abuse to the woman, that led to physical abuse, because whenever she says something to them about it, then they want to put their hands on them.
Yeah.
Okay. Josie, you want to jump in there? Same question. Gotta turn your mic on. Okay, we're gonna come back to her. Kiana, you want to jump in there? Okay, there she go. All right.
So what's the question?
So, have you been a victim of domestic violence? Have you perpetrated it, or have you witnessed it?
Some might say that I have perpetrated it. Didn't mean to. However, it probably was, the situation. Have I ever witnessed it? Yeah, you see it all the time, whether it's verbal, physical, mental. Have I ever been subject to domestic violence? It's not a funny situation. It's actually a scary situation. And in all my life, I always said, never in my days. However, I did come encounter with one situation where I found myself early in the morning. I don't know if I shared this story already, but it's
Just
early in the
don't use any
morning,
names.
and I won't. Early in the morning, have to get ready, get the kids off to school. And this person was here staying. I pay my own way. Anything you do for me is extra, hopefully. So this day I needed my children dropped off to the bus stop, and this person was acting crazy, like brand new, like they're tired. Why do they gotta do it? They don't gotta get up and go to work. Boom, 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 boom. So I was all right. Well, give me the keys. Now, granted, I will keep it 100. I did not have my license at this time, so that was a nay. So it turned into something different where I told my kids to walk to the bus stop because they can get the bus down the street. So, however, that's not where they catch the bus at. So, anyways, long story short, person finally decided they was gonna get up and do it. I hate things being done for me after the fact. It's like, why do it if you really don't want to? So, anyways, I guess they went out, but my children have already gotten on the bus and they came back, and it was more or less like they wanted me to understand what they had to say. And I really wasn't in the mood. It was early in the morning. I do believe morning breath was in this situation. And I was highly upset that people would think that I would want your breath in my face. I have asthma. I asked several times, please. But this person was determined to make me listen to what they were saying. This is the first time I've ever experienced something as such. So they rushed me on my bed, put their forearm in my between my neck, told me I was going to listen to what they had to say. I said, no, I'm not. Your breath stinks. And I want you to know one thing, I cannot breathe. You can say what you want, but when you're finished, I'm calling the cops.
Mm.
They continue to talk to me, and I'm gonna tell you guys, 100. When you're dealing with somebody, and I understand an abusive situation. So when my heart goes out to anybody that can't get themselves out of it. So anyway, back to my story. They were determined to finish what they were saying, and I felt as if maybe I wouldn't have went as far as I did, but it was the mush for me. It was the whole taking your forearm after you was finished, with your bad breath and everything, making me hear what you had to say, and you mushed me with your forearm in between my neck. And I was like, oh, you're so going to jail today. It was like a real Tina Turner episode for me. I
Yeah.
jumped up.
Tina shot at. She didn't play
I
that
jumped up.
nonsense with him.
I jumped up. I ran down the street, got on the payphone, called the police. Remember, by the time I hung up the phone and started to walk back up the street, the police was hitting the corner. Boom. Are you such? And I was like, yep. And then I don't know what was wrong. This is serious, y'all. Serious. What is wrong or what goes through an abuser's head? Because I said I was calling the police and you were going to jail.
He was playing, huh?
So for me, when I returned to my home and walked into my house, I couldn't believe that this person was still sitting there on my bed. Like, can I talk to you? Hell no, nigga, you going to jail. You do not understand.
Exactly.
I do not play this shit. No.
Right.
Bye.
Right.
Mm.
So yes,
Okay.
I have been subject to it. It's not a joke. I might laugh about it because I guess I'm a survivor that it never really got to the point where people were giving me black eyes, breaking my arm, pushing me down a flight of stairs. It's not happening.
I think that your chuckle is not like funny ha ha ha. It's a nervous reaction to something that's bad. So it's not because it's a laughable situation. That's just a nervous reaction. That's your response.
So with sharing my story, I want to say this. I don't think any female asks or looks for a man or whatever it is, an abuser, because we got to think about people are not just with female and male. For no abuser to put their hands on another person in a situation where I guess you're supposed to have this trust and understanding. All of that's out the window when you do stuff like that.
Exactly.
Or love.
And that's my story.
Ain't that much love in the world taking the beating.
Mm-hmm. So
claiming that love.
And let me be clear about this. When you said he took his forearm and put it under your neck, that's not a mush, that's a choke.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what his intentions was to do. Let me get
the point that I'm trying to make about the mush, David, is that he did not apply pressure. He just had his hand like that. But when he went in with the force of the mush and then got off of me, oh hell no. Nope. I feel like someone robbed me of something. I'm not standing for this.
So let me be clear about this. It was the implied threat. The fact that he would take his forearm and put it under your neck, that was an implied action. The fact that he did not apply any force, the threat was clear. It was still his intentions, or his threat was to choke you into submission. let's get a male's perspective. Bird, same question.
This Bird. Well, I'll start off by saying I've been a witness to domestic abuse or domestic violence. I've been a victim of domestic violence, and I've also perpetrated at some level some sort of violence, if I must be honest. By far, I'm not a perfect person. I don't pretend to be, so I can openly say I have been an abuser, not more or less somebody that has beaten on women, but I may have had an act of physical abuse and many acts of verbal abuse on my behalf. So, I mean, in my youth, I can say these are mistakes that have happened in my life, but I believe in my true heart now I haven't put myself in a situation to make any similar mistakes. So I've learned lessons through therapy. I've learned lessons through jail. I've learned lessons through court. I've learned lessons through friends. I'm getting lessons through podcasts on, just being a better person than I was. And I truly believe I am. So I don't know. I don't condone. I don't wish it. I don't want it. But things happen in life that we have regrets, and I have regrets. So I guess that's where I'm at.
So because you are a man that's regretful of said actions, that knows that you're remorseful. And like you said, you have taken the necessary steps so that you are not doomed to repeat said behavior or get caught up in those type of situations again. So let's just stay right there. When you heard Josie talking about the situation and the person that had the implied threat, as a man, how does that make you feel when you hear a woman speak about a situation like that, and when she says that even though he did not apply pressure, he still put his forearm there? What does that mean to you as a man when hearing that?
I mean, as the man that I am now, it's appalling to hear, such people in existence, but I have been a person in existence that way in some level. I'm not saying to a similarity, but I was a bad person too. I was probably going through some mental shit myself when these acts may have occurred, or, acts of retaliation or hurt, or, I mean, there's no excuse to say why or what, but I can't make an excuse for someone else's actions. I mean, as the man I am now, I'm totally against it. Having children and having daughters, and wouldn't like that to happen to them. And, I don't believe, I can say now I'm an honest believer, no matter what people say, doesn't give you a right to put their hands on you, on that person. But there have been incidences where people will really poke really hard to, really like damage and hurt you with that verbal abuse to look for a physical response, because you're not given a verbal response. So let me keep going. Let me force something out and push. And that happens. And some people get pushed to a point and get tired of being hit and actually hit back. And that becomes an issue. You know what I mean? You don't necessarily want to be the one to have to call the cops on a girl that is throwing shots at you because you look, or you may feel like you're a weak person, but in reality, that's just what it is. Some people do poke and look for a response. Some people don't. Some people,
Let's just be clear, Bird is not my situation. So just want the podcast to be clear, because he's not the person I was talking about. So we're clear.
He knows that. Hey,
I know that. I know that.
If you don't know that, you can go to hell.
Now, again, I think that he was quite clear about his response anyways. Any transgressions that he might have had, then, like you said, he's remorseful. He regretted them. And
Exactly.
we said don't use no names, but we already know him. We know him to be who he is. So we already knew that wasn't the situation. But my brother, good response when you said that where you are in life now, there's no excuse for it. I like that response. That's because that's the right response.
Because Dave, a man admits when he's done wrong. That's what a real man does. He can admit his faults. He can admit that he did something wrong, and he's not trying to hide it. He's being upfront with it because he knew and know that it was wrong. So that's why now the persons that don't acknowledge, those they ignorant. They need psychologists, psychiatric help because they don't think they did anything wrong, and that's the worst type of person.
Mm-hmm. So, and those individuals need to deal with. I'm gonna go ahead and go to my sister, No Nonsense. Duchess, can you share?
Can I share what?
Can you share? I want for same question. Have you ever been a victim of domestic violence? Ha ha ha.
No.
And have you ever perpetrated it? And have you witnessed it? And I'm going to give you an extra part because I know who you are and your stance in life and situations like that. I want you to extend it by, I want your views on how you feel about abusive men. But go ahead. The floor is yours.
Okay. No, I haven't. I've been a perpetrator of abuse. How I witnessed it. I mean, I don't want to. I mean, I guess looking back at it, you could say it had abusive tendencies of like, a power dynamic between my parents or whatever. But as far as physically abusive, no, that's not the case. And I don't condone men putting their hands on women. And I would be the first one to, stranger, whatever, calling the police. Yeah, you might be bigger, but there's an object around here that will take you down until they get here. I will never sit back and be a recorder of somebody getting abused. I don't play that. You put your hands on, well, I'm from a family that if you put your hands on somebody in my family, we ain't even waiting for the police. We're coming to take care of the situation, and then they can pick up whatever's left up of this situation. So, yeah, not my forte.
Robert?
Have I ever been a victim? Have I perpetrate? And have I ever witnessed? Let's see. Witness, yes. Heard of. I put that in with witness. Yeah. I mean, I know a few stories and probably try to bury a lot what I might have seen or walked in on the aftermath. Family, some friends of friends, back in the days, households, it was different. The moms and father was a little bit harsh on each other, mainly because the father was dibbling and dabbling outside the home, and he was trying to keep the lady at home and check by verbal abuse, mental abuse, or physical. Me being a perpetrator of this, maybe mental. I know I've done some things. No, I never said I was perfect. I don't think anyone is. But the lady ticked me off, and I went downstairs in my house, and there's all these other bedrooms that I could have did this to, but I choose to do it to her daughter's room. that we did not share that daughter. We didn't make that daughter. And I spit it on her daughter's floor because I knew that would mess with her mental. And it certainly did.
So
And
she
I must,
already got you going. That's
yeah,
why.
yeah, she already wound me up, but I got exactly what I wanted out of it because I knew that would bother her. I knew it would bother her. And it wasn't right. And I regret that to this day because I should have held my composure. I should have been more in control. With it was premeditated. I go down here, I spit on this floor. She's gonna go off. She went off, told the little girl's father that's in prison. I picked her daughter's floor to spit on. I got a son's room, I got a daughter's room, or my own bedroom, and I choose her daughter to spit on. All right. I was trying to rattle her cage like she was rattling my mental. I know that was wrong. That's me being a perpetrator. That's something that I regret, and I don't do. That was out of character. Being a victim, if you want to consider this a victim, when I got caught doing things that I should not have been doing with other women, and then I opened myself up to just be a victim of circumstance, as in, all right, you caught me on what you want to do, smack me, punch me, get it over with so we can go on with our life. Yeah, I was a victim in that situation, but I never was a victim when I just sit home, I'm doing right, and you come bust me on my head and tell me what you want me to do, how you want me to answer you, what you want me to say, and all this. No, not a victim in that way, but I was a victim due to what I was doing wrong and how I got caught. So I always
Yeah, but
thought,
you,
I always know this was my belief. You walked up on me, see me with someone, you're mad, smack me, get it over with, move on, because I can
oh,
take your smack.
yeah,
So
but
that's
see,
me
if
being a
you
victim.
answer or telling somebody, that's not being a victim. You feeling guilty and deserve that you should be slapped. That's what that was.
Yes, but I set myself up to be a victim because ain't no way in this lifetime or the next that I should have told her to smack me, because outside what I don't know, she could have been doing the same. You know, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
gonna say that she was, but just so happened I'm the one that got caught. So I felt bad because I know right from wrong. And I thought
Mm-hmm.
I was making it right by allowing you to get off some of your energy that I brought upon you, put it that way. I brought
Mm-hmm.
that in your life. So, you know, I swallowed that.
Okay.
Can I go back and interrupt?
Yes,
So,
you can.
well, not interrupt, but I found out that a friend of mine, former friend, whatever, was in a relationship that became abusive. And when I found out, I have been looking for that dude to this day. So he better be aware that if I ever see him, he's gonna get it. He thinks I'm a nice person. I will not be nice when I see them. So I never, because this person is so sweet, it just, I mean, no woman deserves it, but because that person is the way that they are, it is totally uncalled for. And again, it's been years since I found out, but I have not seen this dude. And Lord knows he has kept that person from my vision, because it will not be a nice when we see each other ever.
And God willing, he'll continue to do so. But just a public announcement, Mr. Wrongdoer, if you're listening, you got some payback on the horizon. So you've been dipping and ducking and dodging for a very long time. Just continue to do so. It's in your best interest. So let's hear from young Lacey. Mr. Lacey, same question. Have you ever
Yeah,
been
Maury.
a
Every
victim?
day I beat my girl with a broomstick. Nah, I'm playing with you. But I think it's something in the water right now. Cause it's a lot of, like, I don't know about y'all's generation, but my generation, it's a lot of abusive relationships going on right now. I know a whole bunch of people in abusive relationships, and I don't understand why they stay in them. It's crazy. I think it's some type of form of brainwash. We need to get it together. But I have been in domestic situations. I've been stalked. I've had people pop up out in my hallway while I'm walking up in my building. I've had people down the street and they're like, hey, ain't that so-and-so? I mean, like you said, it might start off verbal and then it turns physical. The next thing you know, you might be the person that has to put your foot down, like Bird said. And nobody ever wants to get to that point. That's why you shouldn't be in those type of situations.
So let me be clear. You got ninjas jumping out the trees on you and just popping up like magicians out of nowhere, out of thin air.
Yes, sometimes I thought it was very funny. Sometimes it was actually scary. No bull crap.
Yeah.
Like, wow, what the hell are you even doing? I might have jumped out my boots. Almost got me. Gotta be quicker than that.
Could I
Yeah,
add
you may.
to Gregory's stalking? I sat in one of my apartments one day, me and my friend, and we were sitting here playing the whole night out with these two chicks, just talking about what we're gonna do. We're gonna go over to their house and do what we're gonna do. And the whole time I was feeling like something was wrong. I had my kitchen windows open on both sides. I have my bedroom windows. It was like I felt someone was listening to me. So I told him, I was like, well, you can go take your shower first. Then after you take your shower, I'll take mine, then we'll leave and we'll go over their house. But I want to check the perimeter. I want to check the outside. I want to see if what I'm thinking is to be true. I said, she's out here. She's listening to me. And I know when I open up this door, she's going to be there. He was like, yeah. I doubt that. You're just probably paranoid. I don't think she is. Soon as I said, okay, all right, I'm going to go check. As soon as I opened up my front door, because it was two doors, one to my apartment and one straight outside my apartment goes to the porch to let people in. So I opened up my front door. As soon as I opened the front door, bow! Got the shit smacked out of me. And I said, I knew you was out here. Come here, let me talk to you. They was like, get the hell off me. And ran down the stairs, jumped in their car and drove off. Now, mind you, I ain't with this girl. Nothing to do with her. She's in her own relationship, new relationship. Why was you stalking?
Late.
And why was you mad enough to smack me because I was about to go have a good time?
911.
Yeah.
But then you get called out your name some more. But I think all of it's impulsive behavior. People that don't make conscious decisions or something. Like you shouldn't be putting your hands on somebody else. It shouldn't have to get to that point.
Okay.
But some of it is that that's all they
thing, too.
know.
It's an emotional thing too, because they
Say
feel
that
like
again.
it's an emotional thing because they feel like you playing with their emotions.
A lot of it's
When
learned behavior.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's learned behavior, and people that be in that situation because
Where
it's
do
not
they learn
always
it from though? I have that
it's not
Y'all said it's learned behavior. Where are they learning it from? Because
in their surroundings of the things
Society.
that they witness.
Society.
I was
And
gonna
not
say
all.
this for later, but I was gonna say the music. If you think about the 80s music and the 90s music and then the music now, what a lot of music back in the days used to be I'ma slap the girl. Nowadays is I'ma kill her if she do something. And look what's happening.
Well, okay, that's a good segue. So, since you guys have given your own scenarios and shared your experiences and stuff, let's see what the professionals say. Let's see what the signs are. Tech person?
Have you ever heard of a person who knowingly dives headfirst into an abusive relationship? I certainly haven't. That's because abusive relationships often begin as incredibly intense and passionate love affairs with people who seem absolutely perfect. So in the beginning, it's not always easy to tell if a relationship will become abusive. The possession and controlling behavior don't always appear overnight. They emerge and intensify as the relationship grows. But warning signs do exist, even if they aren't easy to recognize or accept. In this video, I will share 7 early warning signs of an abusive relationship before it goes too far. So don't go anywhere. everyone, I'm Dr. Antonio Borello. Welcome to my channel. I'm a psychologist and relationship expert, and I make weekly dating and relationship advice videos that will help you make your love life the best part of your life. Please take a moment and click on that subscribe button to be sure that you're not missing any of our live chats and weekly videos. Just click on subscribe and then click on that little bell icon and you'll be good to go. Okay, so on to the topic. 8 early warning signs of an abusive relationship. Many of you are probably thinking, it won't happen to me. I'll never allow anyone to control me or engage in abusive behaviors. Of course, no one would knowingly dive into an abusive relationship. The problem is that it doesn't start out as abusive. In the beginning, abusers are charismatic, attentive, committed. They're real Prince Charmings. These relationships often begin as incredibly intense and passionate love affairs. An abuser will work to make you feel so appreciated and so loved, you won't even notice he's controlling you as you relinquish your life an inch at a time, becoming more and more entrenched in the relationship. Abusers hold themselves back until they gain their partner's trust and love, and it works. Let's face it, as a society, we're tired of people with commitment issues. Someone who says, "I love you," and talks about marriage and children is a rare creature to be cherished. And when they test your limits and boundaries, it's easy to find yourself feeling unsure and searching for an excuse or justification for their bad behaviors. So warning signs do exist, but they aren't easy to recognize or accept. Here are 8 of the most common. Number 1, the relationship is moving very fast. The most difficult warning sign to accept is how fast things progress. Like, he wants to see you every night. He wants to move in after a month. The abusive partner may claim you're perfect for each other, that it's love at first sight, that you're soulmates, and other romantic and idealistic sounding things. Unfortunately, the desirability of this behavior gives controlling partners the best opportunity to gain total control over their partner's schedule and life. Number 2, unrealistic expectations and shoulds. As things progress and get more serious, we start to see new signs developing. One is finding that your partner has unrealistic expectations and commonly tells you the things that you should and shouldn't be doing. Comments about how you should or shouldn't cut your hair, whom you should see, what job you should take, how you should act, how you should behave, are indications that your partner believes that he knows more than you about yourself and about your life. This attitude will increase over time until you no longer know who you are. If you're not living up to the expectation, the world is ending. After all, you're his whole world. They want the Disney relationship with the stereotypical gender roles. Like, he should provide, and if his job isn't going well, then it's a problem. And she should keep the house, and if dinner isn't on the table, it's another problem. Number 3, excessive gifts and love bombing. This can take many forms, such as excessive texting and telephone calls. He might overwhelm you with constant flattery. And at first, you will not perceive this as bombardment. You will initially be flattered that he's paying so much attention to you. He will leave you small love notes and send you sweet texts. It's like something from a movie. And that's because it is like that. It's more fiction than it is reality. Other big warning signs include lavishing a partner with gifts, especially when that partner is uncomfortable with all the showiness. This creates a foundation where any complaint by the new partner brings accusations of ungratefulness and greediness. After all I've done for you, this is how you treat me? Number 4 is hypersensitivity and jealousy. This refers to the abusive partner overreacting to little things, to little comments or jokes or small issues. Abusers often have low self-esteem and take everything personally. They may be easily insulted or claim that the world is against them if they meet the slightest setback. If you disagree about anyone or about anything, no matter how trivial, you'll be insulting them to their core and calling them a terrible person who can't do anything right. This often shows itself in a set of rules that have clear double standards. If she glances at another man, that means she doesn't find her partner attractive anymore and she's cheating on him. But if she comments on him blatantly checking out another woman, then she's calling him a pervert and accusing him of terrible things that he would never do. Number 5, criticism and superiority. Abusive people criticize anyone and anything at any time, even when they know nothing about what they're criticizing. They tell you how much better that they could do something. And warning, this can look like confidence at first, but with an abuser, it can turn into be egomania and even abrasive arrogance. Healthy people have no need to belittle others. They feel that everyone is equal and that there is enough room in the world for everyone to be great. On the other hand, abusers want the world and everyone around them to be perfect. But their own minds are a complete mess. They can't make sense of their own stuff, so they focus their fixing energy onto others. They want to talk about what everyone else is doing wrong. Number 6, blamers. Blame is placing the entire responsibility for one's unpleasant actions and consequences and feelings on another person or external event and insisting that others agree. A blamer refuses to admit that they have ever done anything wrong. They will always consider themselves a victim, and no matter what really happened, if something goes wrong, it's always someone else's fault. So they will never apologize for anything because they consider themselves blameless. An early warning sign that you're dealing with a blamer is when they are talking about work or career or education and past relationships. The blamer will always take credit when things are going good and will always blame someone around them when things are going bad. Blaming others for their failures make them feel better about themselves and their failures. So blamers will do everything in their power to make their failures seem like someone else's fault. And eventually, his failures will be your fault, and he'll try to make you feel guilty for the things which you have no control over. If you know a blamer, then this probably sounds pretty familiar to you. Number 7, imposed isolation. Imposed isolation begins with your partner criticizing, questioning, and making unwelcome your closest friends and social network. Abusers will try to make you feel guilty for wanting to spend time with friends and family. For example, a woman might avoid an evening out with her friends because she knows her partner is jealous and she's afraid of his reaction afterward. Now, he may mask his behavior and try to flip the conversation towards questioning your motives for wanting to go out. Number 8, mean or abusive towards others. Warning signs are often obvious in how the abuser treats everyone else. Like the waiter brings the wrong wine and it turns into a scene where the manager is called. Someone bumps into him in the street and he yells obscenities even though he's not hurt in the slightest. Or he'll make critical comments about every other person in the room, not caring about who's hearing him. Abusers have short tempers and work hard to hide it from their partner. Pay attention to the way that they treat strangers. You'll be surprised at what you might observe. Seeing any of these signs once doesn't mean you should run for the hills. But if you're seeing multiple warning signs or a progressive pattern develop, you should be concerned. Be wise and trust your instincts. And protect yourself. If something doesn't sound or feel right, do what's best for you and keep yourself safe. Of course, there are other signs of abuse that I haven't addressed today. So I've included a link below to some additional resources that can help you identify abusive relationships. And more important, resources that can help you get support and assistance if needed. So if you're wondering about your situation, please take a look below and please feel free to tell about similar situations that you know of in the comment section below. See,
Oh, my people, the verdict's in. Dr. Parrish, you SAM, still a man, and be forever. Dr. Parrish, ladies first. SOS, support our sisters. Even if you support our sisters only. No pun intended. Scurry yourself over to EmporiumPlus.org, where you will find the latest fashions.
Okay, guys. So again, there are some signs. How'd you guys feel about the video? Do you know anybody like that? Everyone, you have to turn your mics on.
Yeah, I know somebody like that. I know a few people like that.
Okay. So let's sharing time again. So let's go over one of these scenarios. So we got the boyfriend or girlfriend. You guys are out to the club and a guy is looking at your lady friend or looking at your man, or the woman's looking at a man. Sometimes it might be a man looking at your man and vice versa. So that person becomes offended. The male or the female becomes offended because someone is admiring you. So now, if it's the woman's usually a situation where she becomes irate, belligerent, calls you out your name, she might even smack you. She might throw her drink on you. She might take the bottle and bust it over your head. Same thing. The man might do some similar things. He might snatch her up, snatch her out the chair, off the stool, drag her out the club, or he might smack her, or he might mush her. You know, take his palm of his hand and push her in the face, or he might throw his drink on her, or he might become physical with the person that he feels like is paying you too much attention. So again, how do you guys feel about that? I mean, what do you do in a situation like that? If that was somebody you was with, if you was at the club and you seen this happening to one of your family members or your friends, they're being subjected to this type of behavior, or they're guilty of said behavior, what do you do? Tanya?
What do I do?
Yeah, what do you do? How would you intervene? Do you intervene, or do you just continue to watch?
Oh, I don't watch. I put, if it's my friend and her man is treating her that way, I'm pulling her out of the situation before it escalates to anything else.
So how much further does it need to escalate? They done already got verbal and physicals. It's
yeah,
physical.
well, I'm no, because it can, if she reacts, it can get even worse than that. You get what I'm saying? So I'm pulling her, I'm taking her, and I'm telling her, let's go get out of the situation before it gets to anything. If right at that point it's just a drink, it can end up being a fist. It can end up being pulled out the club, you know.
Well, anytime you hear loud argument, it always can lead to physical.
Yeah.
Especially if they're up in each other's face and all that, that's always going to lead to a physical confrontation.
Okay. Sean, what advice would you have for someone in that situation?
I'm sorry. What situation was that? I apologize.
Let's say the young lady or the gentleman they're out in the club, they're someone's admiring them from afar, admiring their beauty, and now that person, be it the woman or the man, wants to become belligerent, verbally abusive, and physically, or just becomes irate. Either throws a drink on her or him, or strikes them, or snatches them up and pulls them out of the club, or even gets physical with the individual that's admiring them, be it a man or a woman. What advice would you have?
The only advice I would have, if I was to give any advice, was that individual needs to get away from that particular person as fast and as far away as they possibly can. And that's just my political answer, because I'm from the Kiana school. My family and we're about the, you put your hands on anyone in our family. It's a matter of us handling the situation at that moment, and then whatever's left after that, we all have to pay the consequences to that. It's kind of hard, because it's like, until you actually physically witness it, you don't know what your reaction would be. I can only speak for myself. It depended on what my relationship was with that particular individual. If I witnessed something like that, I would try to get them away from it, or come to their defense in the matter to where we'll be making two wrongs, not making anything right.
Patsy?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with Sean just now. Like, yeah, you don't know what the total reaction, but you know, it's like you try to like at least try to intervene and be like, okay, boom, boom, boom. Especially if it's family or friends, you know, it's like, yeah, get in there and kind of like defend your family with what's going on, and then whatever happens afterwards, you got to deal with the consequence, you know, of how you're reacting to the situation, you know?
Okay. Bird? Bird, you still with us? Okay. Robert?
You can hear me, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I'll put it to you this way: every man, woman in a relationship, or woman and woman in a relationship, or man and man in a relationship, it's not just the club. If you cannot go outside your home and carry yourself in a decent fashion, having respect for your spouse or your significant other, um, without worrying about someone paying them a compliment or admiring them from afar, you need to stay home. Because going to the grocery store, to the library, to the hospital, the variety store, the liquor store, the restaurant, wherever you may go, science museum, children's museum, there is going to be someone looking from afar. And if your girl look as good as they're making their self drew all over her, or vice versa, your man's looking that good, then you know you picked you someone beautiful. Cherish that compliment. Go home with this person and know that she came home with you and you went back home with her. You are an item. You are one. Far as you worrying about someone saying, damn, she looks good, or they just Googling the item from afar, your self-esteem is something that you might need to check. Because if it turns into physical or verbal abuse or mental abuse, emotional abuse, because someone is paying your spouse a compliment, or they're Google wherever, the happy eyeing them, real happy, real horny, just looking at them or whatever. I don't know, maybe you shouldn't go out in public with your spouse. You should stay home, let them go out by themselves, because you can't handle it.
So if you think that they can't handle them, people admiring them when they're there, what do you think is going to happen when they're not there and they return?
You don't need to be in a relationship with that person. Because if I go
Exactly.
out and come back home, you're like, what was you doing? You went to the grocery store. You've been gone for 30 minutes. That's extremely too long. Sonia must have met you there. Or maybe Pamela. Um, you really need to find out who you are. And I know you ain't for me. And this is where that relationship is over. Because I can't deal with no jealous, sick person. Maybe you're the one that's out there tricking, and you're just trying to reverse this psychology stuff on me so you can get away more with what you're doing and make me feel like I'm doing something wrong and I stay in the house and I don't go handle my business. No, I would end the relationship. And I tell all women, if you got a man at home, he can't let you go out and breathe with your girlfriends without assuming that you're out there swallowing someone else's children batter. Then get rid of him. And vice versa. For a man, you go out and you can't go get your haircut at the barber shop, or go have some friend time with your boys on the basketball court, and she's thinking that you're doing man
Dirty
on man
deeds.
sex. You know, you got to get rid of her too.
Well, Mr. Adapt, you're rather graphic
That was
tonight.
very graphic, very Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, tell us how you really feel. Okay, so all right, let's be clear about this. What happens in a situation where we got the abusive men, where they're you're scheduled to go to a family function, and he or she does not show up because they've been attacked. And now when they do show up, their clothes and stuff are torn, and there's marks on their face and body. What do you do in that situation? You're quite aware of who the abuser is, or you have an idea, and she's not saying who did it, or the women are all trying to be hush and ushering her to one of the rooms further in the house, out of the man's eye shot. I mean, how do you deal with that situation?
You got two options. You either call the police and make a police report and let them work that out in that household, or just as well as she's not telling you who did it and you already know, then you quietly deal with that man on your own or with your other friends and family members, and don't tell her who did it to him.
What if it's a woman?
Bingo.
Then that's something. Let a lady answer that question.
I think this person's crying out for help by showing up like that. Because if they was gonna continue to get abused, they wouldn't have showed up. They would have changed their clothes. They would have tried to put makeup on, regardless if it's a man or a woman. They would have tried to fix it somehow before they came into the family event.
That's why you help
Showed
them.
themselves like that.
That's
They
why you
crying
help
out
them.
for help and they want their family's help at this point.
That's why you help them. Either you send the police or you go physically help them by you putting the same hurt on him that he put on her.
Mm.
And I wanted
Okay.
to say the last scenario, I actually seen that play out, but it was vice versa. I don't know if it's a double standard or something, because I heard a lot of ladies said, hold on, wait 1 second, Uncle D. A lot of ladies said that they would have helped their friend, but there was a guy getting beat up by his girlfriend outside the club because I guess he was flirting with some other girl, or that's what she thought was going on. So she's beating the hell out of this guy outside the club, and his friends are standing around watching, say, yo, that's my boy. He's over there getting beat up by his baby mama.
They're not his friends. They're not his friends. They're sitting there recording him. Instead of them going over there, breaking this whole situation up, taking their friend off with them, they're clowning their friend. And they're trying to get some doggone followers for putting that up on the web like that. That's not a friend to you. So that man right there, after he got his whooping, he should have got rid of his friends too.
Okay, so let's take this a step further. For the ladies on the panel, we have Patsy still, we have Tanya, and we have Kiana. Josie, are you still with us?
Yes.
Okay.
Maria's here.
Maria's okay. Okay, so Maria, let's get you right into it. So I'm gonna ask all you ladies this question. So this is for the ladies. So you have a friend, she's married. Her husband is abusive. Is it okay because they're married?
No. Why is it okay because you're married? It's not okay ever, period. I pray for the women who cannot get out of that situation. I really feel like it's a mental thing that takes over. The man has broken down her self-esteem. She doesn't believe in herself. She doesn't believe she's worthy. She doesn't believe she can do it without him. Or it could be fear, that this man has done so much to her that, she's afraid of the next step. Like, is he gonna, kill me or whatever it may be? But my heart goes out to those individuals. Really, it does.
Maria? You got to turn your mic on. Okay, while we waiting for Maria, Patsy, you go ahead and answer it. Is it okay for?
No, you just gotta. It's never okay, no matter the situation. Marriage, boyfriend, girlfriend, Same-sex relationships, it's never okay no matter what.
Okay.
You know, for a man to hit a woman, no. Or even a woman to hit a man, you know, it's like, no. You know, yeah.
Kiana? You gotta turn your mic on. Okay, so we'll stay with the women for a moment longer. So if you knew of a man that was being abused, and I'm gonna ask the ladies first, do you think less of that man because he's being abused? Or do you think him to be weak? You think him to be a sissy boy, as Judge Joe Brown would say? Feminine? How do y'all feel about that? How do you find it laughable for a man that reports him abuse? Josie? Guys, are you still there? Okay, same question for the guys then. Sean?
Do I find it laughable that a guy is being abused and wants to report it?
Yes.
Not at all. Not at all, because I know that it's out there. And I know of some very, very physical and abusive women. I actually have a friend that I know in his early days in his relationship, his wife now, they were very physical with each other, but because he was such a nice guy, he allowed her to do certain things. And I hope I'm answering your question.
You are.
I'm jumping back to something that Robert said when he said that the guy who was getting beat up and how his friends weren't his friends, this, that, and the other. And to me, I think there's another side to that. And the other side to that is that his friends this is something that is probably normal between that guy and his BM. And this is how they interact, and this is how they deal with each other. So for them, get involved for what? When that's just how they're going to interact later on down the line anyway.
Okay. Robert, do you think it's a laughable situation when a man is reporting abuse?
No, I don't find that funny. I wouldn't make fun of a male that needs to call on help. It's two things that can happen. Either the woman beat on you and then you get tired of her beating on you and you beat back on her and you be the one to go to jail, you accidentally kill her. So if you can call the police on a woman, feel no type of way, don't feel like you are less than a man, help yourself before the police come help you in a different form of help. They might come in and beat you something senseless or damn near take your life. Back to my friend Sean, my brother, I want to tell you, I strongly advise any man or woman that find themselves in that situation. If I'm out with a group of my friends, no matter if me and my woman have an argument every week, and if you find it, this is your pastime to take out your phone and record me and my woman arguing every week. Not only that, I would definitely make sure you're not my friend anymore because I'm now me and my girl's having a problem. She's physical with me. I can't get physical with her. I'm probably going to become physical with my friends. I don't need you as a friend because you're shaming me as well as she's trying to do me out here in public. So I say no matter if it's going on every day, every week, every month, separate yourself with those people because when the first time it happened, they should have said, hey, my man, let me talk to you for a minute. You can do so much better. You don't need her treating you like crap. You don't even have to sit there and tolerate that for 1 second more. Find you someone that's going to appreciate you, that's going to uplift you, that's going to grow with you. And let her go live her best life, because you could be blocking her from being all she can be. Neither one of y'all could be good for each other. But just to sit there and record this and he talk about it later, and then next week you come back out with me hoping it happened again, because this is the norm. So if it's the norm, you're waiting to record me again and again and again.
Okay, real quick, D.
Yeah.
And I missed that part, Dave, Robert. I didn't hear the part about the recording part. So I mean, that I just think that's just corny anyway. So that's the part that I missed. So when I spoke to it, I was just speaking to the other side of it just being a physical altercation between those two individuals. The whole recording thing, I missed that part. That's what you was probably speaking towards. So sorry about that.
No worries. So you guys, so how do you, so these are some of the things, both men and women, these are things I've heard from women that have been in abusive relationships, and then they come and deal with a man that is not abusive. I've heard women say things such as, if you don't beat me, you don't love me. Then I hear men that are abusive to women say, I only beat you because I love you. I only lie to you because I love you. I tell you the truth about what I'm out here doing because I don't want to lie to you. If you would do what I tell you to do, then you won't make me get angry. You make me get angry. Or they bludgeon them, and then they say to them, you made me do this. If only you would do what you're told to do when I tell you to do it, then we won't get to this point. Or you made me beat you because you didn't cook the dinner that you know I want. You didn't cook my steak the way I like it. This house ain't clean. Why are these children still up? Your mama's talking about me. That's why I'm beating on you, because I'm not going to let her disrespect me and you disrespect me as well. The woman says to the man, I don't like your mama, and you was having conversations with your mama about me, and that's why I attacked you. Now, I tell you guys all those different scenarios because there is a bigger situation. Now, I thought about not even showing this video, so I'm gonna go ahead and put a disclaimer on it before we do. The video that you are about to see, the Still a Man platform in no way condones this type of behavior. The only reason why I am airing this footage is because I want women and men to see what happens when these domestic violence spiral out of control. And I will say this before we show the video to all men and women. If you are in a situation and the individual that you are dealing with, again, brings the very worst out of you, then you need to run, and you need to run now. If you are the person that's being abused, get out of it as soon as possible. If you are the person that is abusing people, get help, be it man or woman, because again, it's only going to get worse. If you need to talk to somebody, talk to somebody. Start by talking to the individual that you're dealing with so that it doesn't escalate to that point. And if you can't talk to your significant other, talk to your family members, talk to your brethren, talk to your sister, and talk to your peers. Go get yourself some professional help because it's needed. Talk to a preacher, talk to someone in the church, talk to your elder, someone that doesn't condone that behavior, someone that's going to hold you accountable, someone that's going to give you good advice.
And
now,
clearly pay attention to those signs, because one time is too many.
That's right. The first time should be the last time. The
Yes.
one time is one time.
You better believe it. The first time is the last time.
One time too many. And to all the men, don't be ashamed of calling the cops. don't be ashamed of fleeing your house, because it's going to keep you out of trouble. It's going to save your life, and it's going to keep you from going to jail in a lot of situations as well. But I say that, and we're going to get into this video, and I'm gonna let this video take us out.
Help you. Hey! Let me see if they come help you. Let me see if they come help you. Let me see if they come help you. Now you want to go get my baby. But you was just in the car with this nigga though, right?
Okay, what the fuck?
Okay, what the fuck?
I'm outside.
Oh, you outside?
You outside?
Okay, we all outside. I'm gonna show
yeah,
you.
that's my best friend.
I'm finna show you we outside. Okay.
Fuck yours.
Okay.
Fuck mine.
Okay, we outside. Tell that nigga to come help you. Tell him come help you outside.
Man, you a clown.
Tell him come help you outside.
You a clown.
Yeah, tell him come help you outside.
You a clown.
Yeah, tag the one down.
Oh,
tough ass nigga. This old tough ass nigga.
Why he tough?
That nigga be talking shit.
To you.
Nigga just pulled up, almost lost his life. He tell ass. That boy tell ass, girl, get the fuck out my car.
He ain't said shit to you.
Nigga, this your hood?
And y'all run around with this.
Nigga, this your hood? This your hood? Bitch, shut up,
bitch. You a hoe.
Bitch, shut up, bitch.
Yeah.
This your hood? Nigga, get out your hood. Man, ask everybody at the motherfucking store how that boy just got out his hood. This your hood? Get out your hood. Best friend? Best friend? I'm finna beat the dog shit out you. On me, boy.
Don't be me.
On me.
Don't be me.
I'm finna fuck you around.
I'm
finna fuck you around, bitch. I'm finna fuck you. I'm finna fuck you around. Watch. I'm finna fuck you around. Watch, bitch.
Kill me like you
I'm
said
finna
you
fuck you
gonna
around,
kill me.
bitch. I'm finna fuck you around, bitch.
Kill.
I'm finna show you.
Why you study pussy?
I'm finna show you.
Why you study hitting and beating on me?
I'm finna show you.
Why
You
study
disrespectful
hitting and
ass
beating on me?
bitch.
How I'm disrespectful?
I'm glad you lit, bitch. You lit. You litty. You litty, huh? Watch this. Bitch, you finna take all these licks. Watch, bitch. I'm finna whoop you like you a nigga. You disrespectful ass bitch. Not these. Not these. Bitch, not these. Okay. Best friend. Best friend. Best friend. Pulled up on her and her best friend. Best friend got all this motherfucking hood though. On the boss. On the boss. Best friend got all this hood though. Them niggas not know not to play with me. These old tough ass niggas. Only reason these tough ass niggas talking, cause they can't get caught. They ain't outside, nigga. They ain't outside, nigga. Yeah, and I'm gonna show you. Since you ain't did nothing to these niggas, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you. I'm finna show you. I'm finna show you. I'm gonna show you. Watch this. Yeah, watch this. I'm finna beat you to death on live.
You gonna hear me on live?
On death, on live.
You gonna kill me on live?
On live. Which way to go, y'all? Huh?
You gonna kill me on live?
Watch this.
You gonna kill me on live?
Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. I'm finna fuck you up. You disrespectful ass bitch.
For what?
I'm finna fuck you up.
For what?
You disrespectful, bro.
For what?
You disrespectful.
For what?
I don't give a fuck where we at, nigga. Nigga can die, nigga. Give a fuck about nobody or nothing, nigga. Let a nigga play, nigga. Fuck you mean, nigga. Yeah. Fuck you mean. I'm finna show you. I'm finna show you. Watch this. I'm finna show you. Get out the car. Jump.
Oh, get out.
Bitch, try to jump. I'm finna snatch all this out, bitch. All this. You hear me?
Just sit here,
Man,
they do this shit.
They gonna let me do whatever the fuck, nigga.
I see.
Fuck you talking about, bitch. Nah.
Call Keisha.
Yeah. You gonna need more than her. Yeah. You gonna need more than her. Watch this.
That's crazy.
I'm finna show you. I'm finna show you. You wanna be disrespectful?
Who being disrespectful?
Oh yeah. You wanna be disrespectful? You all in the car with this nigga? You all in the car with this nigga?
That's my best friend.
Okay, he mine too.
I don't do shit with that man.
He mine too. He mine too.
Fuck.
He mine too.
So when you go around town with all these hoes, what the fuck is that?
Watch this. Watch this. I'm gonna show you.
When you going out town with these hoes, what's all that?
I'm finna show you. Come on, we finna talk about all this out the car. Watch this.
You don't want to talk. You want to fight.
No, we finna talk right now.
You don't want to talk. You want to fight.
We finna talk right now.
You don't want to talk. You want to fight.
We finna talk right now. Watch
Okay,
this.
talk.
We talking right now.
Talk
Watch
to
this.
me.
I'm finna talk to you right now.
Talk to me.
Talk to me. Yeah, bam. On bam, I'm finna talk to you.
You on bam, you ain't gonna talk to me. You wanna fight me.
I'm finna show you.
Exactly, you gonna fight me.
I'm gonna show you, see?
You gonna fight me.
I'm gonna show you.
Come on,
I'll show you.
Let's talk.
Yeah. Show you.
Come on.
No, you ain't going nowhere. You coming this way.
Oh, I'm coming out this.
No, watch
Trey,
this.
how the fuck I'm coming? Oh. Nah, man, come on. Nah. Come on, no, cuz, come on.
Dad, there's people with him.
Get in the driver's seat. Get in the driver's seat. Huh? Come look at y'all friend. Come help y'all friend. She need help. Look at her.
Hey, did you guys hear about that store online? One Stop Shop? EmporiumPlus.org. Go over there now, where you can find the latest fashions. And the Dr. Parrish Youth Serum, Still a Man, a Dr. Parrish Ladies First, SOS Support Our Sisters, and Envy Forever. Go, gravitate to the fashions that will make you look better.
So as y'all can see, that's very graphic. And normally, you know, I don't even allow that type of stuff to be shown on this platform, that type of language and stuff like that, because like I said, the Still a Man platform and the men and women on this panel, we are trying to change the narrative and the depiction of people of color, and that is just a bad representation of our people, but that is indicative of what I'm talking about when things spiral out of control, when you're not in control of your emotions. It's a very sad situation. My heart goes out to that lady as well as that man, because again, there's clearly something more going on to that situation where you're not able to articulate your emotions, what's going on with you, and that's how it gets physical. So again, I asked the tech person not to end the show after that video, because I want to tell you, I think that you guys should continue this discussion with others in your family and stuff like that. So again, if you know somebody that has been subjected to this type of behavior, let this be as a warning to you. You need to talk to those individuals, and if needed, show them that video, because that's what happens when we do nothing, when everybody just sits around and watches. And again, to Facebook, I say you guys need to be better at policing this information, because this is mental trauma. This is not something that needs to be basically circulated. It's basically making its rounds. So again, I tell you guys to share this video, not as a means because to laugh at the situation or because you're trying to get someone to give you hits on your page. I'm telling you to share this video with your loved ones and friends, both men and women, because this is a clear example of what we should not be doing. We're supposed to love our women. We're not supposed to beat them. We're not supposed to mistreat them like that. My uncle, God bless him, he taught me and my siblings, my brothers and other men around us, he said to us at a very young age, if you got to beat them, you don't need them. This has been the Still a Man podcast show. You guys, God bless you all.